Okay, so you can just go ahead and start.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Sandra, and I'm going to be your Spanish interpreter for the day. We just want to give you
The interpretation feature should be on now. Okay. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, got it.
Okay. Good afternoon. This is Araceli Sanchez with Mental Health America, and I have here my crisis case manager.
Hi, my name is Jessica. I am the crisis case manager for Mental Health America for our first program. And I will be giving the presentation on anxiety and stress post-COVID. And we can go ahead. I'll be sharing a PowerPoint with everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing the screen. Okay.
Does everybody see?
Can everybody see the screen?
So we're hoping that.
Thank you. Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you.
So just as an introduction as to what we have seen that COVID has brought. So COVID has brought uncertainty, worry, fear, and many other emotions related to the impact it is having on our lives. If you as a parent, as an adult, feel anxious and stressed about its impact and what it's doing to your normal life, you can assume that your child is feeling stressed and anxious as well. So COVID's traumatic impact is equivalent to that of a natural disaster, such as an earthquake or tsunami, hurricanes, and such that we have experienced. Traumatic events are typical situations that are out of our control, beyond our usual experience, and cause us to feel as though our lives and of others may be in danger. And then next, so impacts of natural disasters. As parents, if you guys can think back whether you were involved in a natural disaster, that be a hurricane, an earthquake. Living in California, we have gone through several wildfires. So one impact that I know that I've lived through were wildfires. And as a child of traumatic experience of a wildfire, I remember going back to school after being out of school for about 2 months, feelings of fear, anxiety, and stress over what is going to happen if a fire starts now. What is going to happen to my siblings? What is going to happen to my mom and dad? Am I safe? Will I see them? What is the safety plan that my teacher's gonna do? What is the safety plan that I have with my friends? What happens if I'm outside and the fire happens? So feelings that came up with that So you can imagine that with your child who is experiencing COVID and now they are back in school, they are probably experiencing feelings of worry, feelings of uncertainty, feelings of being unsafe. They do not know if they will get sick at school. They don't know if a peer is sick. They do not know if their teacher is sick. They don't know if mom and dad are safe at work, if there's a possibility of mom and dad getting sick. So they're carrying these feelings of fear and uncertainty. And if there is no reassurance of that there is something in place so that uncertainty and that fear can be brought down to a level where it's not distracting them or impacting their thoughts at all times, your kids are going to be constantly having the stress and anxiety, in a constant mode of stress and anxiety. So ways that you can support your child is having conversations, asking questions, and the reassurance. So in having conversations, it could go along the lines of just asking what they are feeling when they are at school, if what they feel about if they've gotten sick or when they are getting sick or if somebody they know is sick. Asking questions along the lines of whether they're choosing. I know schools, different districts, different schools have their own implementations for COVID as far as whether they will be wearing masks or the 6 feet distance requirement or what the requirements are. Children are aware of what the requirements are. Children know what helps them feel safe. So asking questions, how do you feel safe? How can I help you feel safe? Validating what they are feeling as far as feeling safe. So validating their desire to want to use masks, validating their desire to want to keep 6 feet distance, and then including their staff or whoever is at it constantly with them, including them in how they're feeling and having them validate those feelings as well and those concerns. So that comes with the reassurance and the asking questions. Validating feelings, providing understanding on what they are hearing, seeing, and experiencing. That comes along with if you have the news on, if you read and stay updated to everything as far as COVID, chances are your children are around you and they are listening. Children listen, they take in even when you feel that they are not. So if breaking news happens and COVID is up again and you are voicing your own concerns and of the fear of being prepared, chances are your child heard it and they are now experiencing the same feelings you are experiencing. So providing them with understanding, breaking that down for them to a point where they can understand it, that is a great form of support for your child. Another one, creating a safety planner checklist. So after having a conversation with their child and they have voiced their concerns that they do not feel safe or they want to know what to do if they are exposed at school or if there is somebody sick at school or there is someone sick at home or things of that nature, providing a safety plan or checklist that your son or daughter, your child can go through every morning before they leave for school or go over with you on a weekly basis is a great form of support and also providing stability and certainty to avoid the feelings of anxiety and stress. Some signs of stress and anxiety. So unwanted thoughts and nightmares. Those can come during the day. Again, nightmares would be at night. So unwanted thoughts could be they're sitting in class or they're playing with friends and all of a sudden a thought of related to anything related to COVID. So, is this clean? Is this safe for me to touch? Is this safe for me to sit here? Those are unwanted thoughts and those are signs of stress and anxiety. So negative feelings, crying, anger, and frustration. If your child is showing these signs and they were not there before, that is a sign of stress and anxiety. So having trouble sleeping, cleaning, being clingy and bedwetting. If your child has never shown these signs before, that is another one of stress and anxiety, and that is something to look into. And these are where you would start to ask questions and to try to understand where these, why these are happening. Being forgetful, unfocused, low academic achievement. Again, if those are behaviors that were never in place before, and they are there now, now that they are back at school, and now that they're entering what would be a normal life again, that is a sign of stress and anxiety. And a conversation, having a conversation in place with them could give you more clarity as to why it is that they're feeling what they are feeling and showing the behavior that they're showing. So right now I want to open the floor to any questions that anyone might have.
So Jessica, I wanted to ask you, and I wanted you to share your experience during COVID and what you had to do with your brothers. How was that?
Yes. So I, at the time of COVID, was working at a school. I was working as an instructional aide. So I had younger brothers come at home, and I would change roles into teaching them. So a lot of what we experienced was frustration with having to teach them at home. It is not the home is not a learning environment. Their home is their home environment. Their home is where they get to be kids. They get to play. They get to watch TV. So having to switch that environment into a learning environment brought a lot of frustration, a lot of new behaviors, behaviors such as yelling or fighting with siblings or arguing with parents. Those are behaviors that we saw in the home. And it took time to get them acclimated to switching and making a certain area of the home a learning environment that could be similar to what they would have at school. And then after COVID and having them to be able to return to school, we had to again readjust to them returning to school, being in a learning environment, not being able to be doing homework in pajamas or in front of a computer. So the children now are experiencing, there's no stability for them. They're jumping from one environment to another environment, seeing different faces, going back to seeing faces they're familiar with. So we needed to provide conversations and reassurance constantly with this is what is happening now and this is why this is happening now, in order to provide them that stability and that certainty that they need to know that things are going to be okay, even with the constant changes.
And I know there was conversations that to understand what the kids are feeling when they went back to school. It was like going back to school for the very first time, entering school for the very first time, relearning what were the social cues that you were supposed to follow, what were the friends and that were your friends and stay your friends during COVID, and also carrying the losses that your family probably went through during the pandemic as well. So kids are processing not just the going back to school, the anxiety of what is it that we learned while we were at school, but also the effects of the losses maybe, and the fear that was lived during that time. And again, we talked about normal, and it's normal because of the world is telling us that we're back to normal, when in reality, the process of the uncertainty, the process of readapting and learning those social skills and processing those losses and what we saw at home, maybe, that's going to take longer. So we need, as parents, we need to be mindful of that and be patient with them. And school grades are fantastic. And right now, there needs to be a focus on the mental health and the mental recovery from the experience of a traumatic event, because COVID is a traumatic event, as Jessica put it. It's a natural disaster. It's a form of trauma. And trauma, what is it? It's a wound. It's somebody that it's in pain, and we can all be in pain for what we lived and during COVID.
Another thing I wanted to add, yes, it is being patient with the kids, but also parents being patient with yourself. Being patient and as well as encouraging for yourself. It's okay not to have all the answers. It's okay not to be able to provide the reassurance and the certainty that they have if you do not have it. But it's also, if you do not have that reassurance for yourself and that certainty for yourself, being vulnerable with your kid and explaining that I am not there yet, but let's go on this journey to being there together. So walking them with you through that journey, and that's going to take patience on yourself as well.
And and remember that if these feelings are taking longer to recover, more than 2 weeks, it is affecting their ability to socialize in a dramatic way, or you're seeing some big changes. It's always a good thing to reach out for help and to be assessed. What else could be going on? And so again, we open the door for questions that anybody may have. I see something in the chat. I'm going to check if they are questions. Okay, this is in regards to interpretation. Okay, it's in regards to this being both in Spanish and in English. So there were no questions so far, or to this point. Okay. So with that, we hope this brings some awareness and help. We're here to help. Your school is doing this to support your journey as well. And as mental health and other providers that your school may refer you to, feel free to contact them as well. And thank you very much for being here. Kudos to you for being here this afternoon. And I know you probably will see this maybe later on in your YouTube channel. So hope to hear your questions then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank
Was
you.
that it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Have a good day.
Thank
Thank you.
everyone.